Okay, can y'all hear me? Good. Okay. No flash photography, especially from the back row there. Cell phones, please put them on vibrate or silent. If you need to take a call, please take it outside. It's totally cool to have a call just, outside. There was one more thing. Oh, if you have any questions at all, I know she just said it, but if you have any questions, please take them to the microphone in the center of the room there. That's very important. It's so that the live feed can hear you guys. Okay? Enjoy.
Right.
How's everybody doing? Thank you for coming out. Here we are again, Seattle, yet another Emerald City Comic-Con. Y'all having a good time? Amazing how big this show's gotten, huh? But welcome to the Pint OCB panel. My name's Cebulski, and I guess I'll be your host/moderator for today. You guys have been to one of these panels before, I'm assuming? Yeah. Yep. So you kind of know how it works. You know, it's based after the famous Cup of Joe panels. Joe Quesada, Marvel's chief creative officer, would always say that when he was growing up and going to conventions, he wished he could have had the ear of the people who work at Marvel, who make the comic books, from the editorial side to the creative side. To just ask them questions and have an open forum, and express opinions, and get a little bit of information about what we do and answers to questions you might have. So that's how we run it. It's pretty much an open forum. There's going to be a microphone here. After we do the self-introductions, we'd like to ask people to line up, and we can just start talking about Marvel. Ask questions you want about the comics, what we do, the creative process, what goes on in the office. I do want to say up front, Tom and myself, we work at Marvel East, which is Marvel Publishing. And we do not have all the intimate details of things that go on at Marvel West, being studios. So we can't share any information about Age of Ultron or what's coming up on the Netflix deal or really what's going on in some of the video game stuff. We have a peripheral knowledge of that, but we don't have all the intimate details of things you might want to know on the Hollywood side. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Tom, you want to talk a little bit about what are some of the other things we're going to be doing at the panel today, though?
Well, I was going to leave it for when we got the questions, but okay.
All right, you want to just leave it?
Yeah, we'll leave it.
All right. And the other thing is, if you ask a good question, I happen to fly in from Tokyo on Thursday, so I have Japanese Oreo cookies. I have raspberry white chocolate, creme brulee, and green tea latte flavored Oreo cookies.
The creme brulee is excellent.
So good questions get rewards.
The creme brulee is quite good.
So you want to start? We'll do a self-introduction so you get to know some of the panelists. Oh, I think we didn't. Is there a chair down there? Oh, there is. All right, excellent.
Okay, so she's got a spot? Good.
Perfect.
Full house.
All right, Charles, you want to start with a couple of self-introductions so you get to know who our panelists are today?
Hi, I am Charles Soule. I am the writer of several Marvel titles right now, which is fantastic. I write Thunderbolts. I write She-Hulk, which is a lot of fun. Thanks very much. And I'm also writing Inhuman, which has its first issue coming out on Wednesday, and I hope you guys will all check that out. Joe Madd's on the art. It looks amazing.
Awesome.
All right. Hello. I am Tom Brevoort. I am Marvel's SVP executive editor, and I edit all the Avengers books and most of the big events and Captain America and all kinds of Marvel-y stuff.
Hi, I'm Jason Aaron. I write Thor, and thank you, and Original Sin, which starts soon, and also an image book, but we won't talk about that now.
My name is Joshua Fialkov. I just finished Ultimate X-Men and the Ultimates, and I'm moving on to Ultimate FF, and I'm also writing the Spider-Man Infinite story that starts in a few weeks.
Right.
Hi, I'm Willow Wilson. I'm writing the new Ms. Marvel. Thank you. Thanks. I pay her to do that. I'm also the author of Mystic, which was nominated for an Eisner a couple of years ago, and some other stuff for the other shop.
I'm going to borrow this. We're going to share. Yeah, go ahead. All right. My name is Sue DeConnick, and I do Captain Marvel for Marvel Comics and the recently retired Avengers Assemble.
Some of the Carol Corps in the audience.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Just a few.
Can you guys take the flashes?
They're all Carol Corps. Do you understand that? Yeah.
So I guess without further ado, we really do want to just kick it off. We want to talk about what you guys want to talk about and hear what's on your minds about all things Marvel. So there's the mic right there if you guys want to stand up and line up and start asking questions, see where this takes us.
Is the mic working? Okay, it is. So, when the new Ms. Marvel was announced, how much pushback was there from people either in the media or random people online?
Do you want me to answer that, or do you?
Why don't you
want to take first pass?
Sure. So there was some, there was a little bit of muttering from the usual suspects. There were, people in certain fringy groups who were, convinced that this was part of some sort of like Masonic plot to. No, I'm not even joking. I wish I was. And there was, but a lot of it was less than I expected. Number one. Number two, I was pretty confident that it would go away when the book actually came out and people actually saw what it was about. And I'm pleased that both of those things were true. So yeah, there was a little bit of pushback, but far, far less than I was expecting, which was a great and wonderful surprise.
It was fun. Colbert had a parody thing of that. It was funny.
It was hysterical.
Did you enjoy the book?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what
That's
counts.
the
Quality
important
shuts up all naysayers.
Excellent.
For sure.
Don't give them all away, CB. Save them.
You should just cut to that question first. That was
So I have kind of an interesting question. I'm just wondering what is happening with Brew, because I know Wolverine and the X-Men changed writers, and I know Quentin Quire's still going to be in that one, but I haven't seen much about my favorite Brood.
Well, yeah, Jason Latour writes the book now. I think Brew did pop up in issue 1 or 2 and just in a cameo. Yeah, he's off in space. So he'll be back. I mean, I think Latour taking over the book, he had a lot of characters. Like, I wrote a ridiculous amount of characters into that book. So he was trying to kind of pare it down. But he actually told me that once he pared it down, Brew was one of the ones who got kind of pushed off to the side at first. And then he realized, like, yeah, I wish I'd written more Brew into the book. So he'll be back, yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Did you want an Oreo?
I'll take hers.
Yeah.
I've actually got a terrible question, and I kind of apologize. I taught my children to read with the Mini Marvels books by Chris Giarrusso.
Yeah,
which are
great books.
fantastic kids. So one, taught them to read, they love reading, and got them hooked on Marvel Comics. So I'm a happy dad. But
I don't think this is a terrible question.
well, that's not the question. My kids are, for whatever reason, my children and all my friends' kids now are absolutely addicted to Elephant Steve. Who's like the throwaway
Right,
one.
right.
I actually kind of like him now too. But are we ever going to see even one more panel of Elephant Steve? He was a throwaway joke where they said, "Let's talk about the elephant in the room," and he stands up and walks out.
Well, I guess, you know, stranger things have happened. Stranger
There is
characters.
a Guardians movie coming out. I guess you're right.
You know, exactly. You know, stranger characters have caught on, so it's not impossible at all. But that all having been said, and to kind of go off message a little bit here, you know, Chris Giarrusso is downstairs. He's pushing his current series G-Man, which would be excellent to turn your kids on to as well. Very much in the same spirit.
Thanks.
We haven't written the end of Original Sin yet, so we could make him the killer.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Well, no one would see it coming for some reason.
Matt Fraction is also an Elephant Steve super fan, actually. So, yeah, oddly enough.
As a big fan of Young Avengers and Ms. Marvel, I know that Ms. Marvel is quite young for a series, but in the near future, after a couple more issues of Ms. Marvel come out, do you think there's a possibility of a Ms. Marvel Young Avengers team up?
Well, now I want to know the answer to that, too.
You are the writer.
Yeah.
I'll have to say this. Given the fan response to Ms. Marvel, the pool of things that we're allowed to pull from has suddenly gotten much bigger. So I don't know. I wouldn't discount the possibility. But I can't, there are no concrete plans as of right this second. But I mean, I could sit down at my desk on Monday and somebody thought that was a great question. I don't know. So who knows?
Thank you.
I just want to say, first off, I like the Marvel now a lot. I guess my only question is, why the hell do you guys keep rebooting the series after every 30 issues? I mean, like, why not just, like, once you get to, like, 36, you put issue 36 and then VOL.2? I mean, it's only like an extra cent.
The short answer, the short and sweet answer, really, is because when we do that, you buy them. And when we don't do that, you don't buy them as much.
I don't know about these guys, I do.
Okay, and thank you for that. You know, it is. You know, I think it's a reflection of the world we live in. Certainly, the continuity of numbering was shattered years ago at this point, and people are used to thinking about their entertainment more in terms of seasons that they binge watch, you know, more so than serial publication. It's kind of a shift in the attitudes of the audience as a whole. And in terms of what actually works for that audience. You know, everybody here will tell me one thing, I don't like when you do that, and then I'll immediately go out and buy the new #1 when we do it. We will always follow what you do, more than what you say. It's nice when those are the same thing, but you know, when you guys show that that's the way to get your attention, that's what we're going to do.
We're failing, guys, we're failing.
And
you're failing.
And
I mean, I don't. A #1 is an invitation to new readers. It says this is a place where it's very, you know, I realize every issue is someone's first issue, and yes, everybody should be able to jump on at any point. But the reality of storytelling is a #1 is a very clear message that this is an easy place for you to join us. And we're always trying to bring more people into the community. So while, yes, we don't want to do, you know, a new #1 every 6 weeks, but the new #1s at Marvel don't negate everything that came before it.
It's
so,
true.
I mean, the stories, it just says to a wider audience, come join us. So you can cross out the #1 and you can write number 37 on it, and I think the story's going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, we're at the point now where we're
we can
putting
invite
2,
him to
3,
join us
4
on
numbers
Volume
on a book. It's kind of multiple choice. You can pick
And the
whichever
thing
one
is-
you want.
The thing is, the word reboot is used really like having worked at both companies, like people use it about Marvel all the time. Well, I worked at the other place where they do constantly actually reboot and they throw stuff away and you never know what's in continuity and what's not in continuity. What Marvel's doing is they're relaunching titles. Like it's a business decision. It is not a creative decision. You know, so they have a commitment and they've had a commitment since the beginning to tell one story about one universe. You know, about the 616, the main Marvel universe and what it means and what these characters mean. And all that stuff that happened. None of it is erased. Like, you know, there's not 7 Robins in 3 years. Like, it all makes sense. You know?
Burn.
The point of fiction, right, is to make us feel connected to one another. That's what we come to story for, is to feel that we are not alone in our experience of the universe. And we use these overblown, iconic archetypes in superheroes the same way that we use mythology to teach us about ourselves as human beings, right? So when we get too obsessed with the numbering, it's like it's sort of like you're focusing on the container and not the Coke. You know, like drink the Coke, enjoy the Coke. I don't care what the box looks like.
The soft drink.
Yeah. Well, you know, whatever.
Last thing, just before I sit down. What is this Marvel Universe Live? I've gotten like 100 emails about in the last 10 minutes.
Did we announce something?
No, I think, is this the stage show? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they announced, you know, we're doing Marvel Universe Live, which is kind of the Cirque du Soleil of the Marvel Universe, to, you know, put it in the short term. It's a live show with all the Marvel characters.
CB and I will be starring.
Yes.
we've been getting in shape. It's great.
Trying. Yeah, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is moving to Vegas. But, yeah, it's going to be a traveling show by, what's not Reed, it's, I
don't remember.
I forget the name of the company, I'm so sorry.
If you go to YouTube and search, you can see there's a short
Feld.
film that shows
Feld,
you,
that's right.
some clips from the show and some of the aerial work that they're doing and the actors and performers who are involved in this, and they are amazing, and I can't wait. And Carol's going to be there in the right costume.
Yeah, it's by Feld Entertainment, who also do the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, so it's going to be traveling around to different places. I think they just announced the tour dates, because at the Barclays Center in New York, they announced it's coming over the summer.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
So my question is for Jason Aaron. We know every time you touch Wolverine is going to be a great story. And my question is, how much do you hate Scott Summers?
Tom wants you to have an Oreo.
I've never hated Scott Summers. I think it's always dangerous to confuse a writer's opinions with the character's opinions. Wolverine doesn't like Scott Summers. That doesn't mean I don't like him. You know, I had a lot of fun writing that scene between the two of them in one of my last issues of Wolverine and X-Men, where they just got stuck in a room with a bunch of beer and kind of got drunk and talked about their problems. So I love Cyclops. If I get to write a Cyclops series someday, that'd be awesome. Then I could talk about how much he hates Wolverine.
Thank you. Did you want a cookie?
Actually, you asked a Jason question, and Jason is writing our event series, Original Sin, that's coming out this summer.
Hold on one second.
Hold on a second.
Wait.
Would you be interested in reading the first issue of Original Sin?
The first person ever to read it.
Right now? Yes. Right here? Right now? All right, well, you come up over here, and I will. Don't ask any good questions.
If you don't like it though, you got to give the cookie back.
One sec, we'll be right with you.
No problem, buddy.
All right, while he reads, and we'll get his review after.
We all awaited on bated breath.
Like it.
So recently, Marvel's been very successfully including different minority groups, and I think it's been a good push for you guys. But the most distrusted minority group in America and the largest growing is the atheist community. And despite there being a large number of atheists in Marvel, Reed, Tony, Ben Grimm, etc., you guys don't seem to ever express that in the characters. I realize it's somewhat different in the Marvel Universe because you have a wonky, non-working metaphysics. But still, I mean, we have a lot of, there's a lot of theists.
No judgment.
Yeah, there's a lot of theists in Marvel, and that's expressed culturally in them. But it's not expressed culturally in the atheists. And if you go to the Wiki page, you list Carnage and Kingpin. You don't list Reed. You don't list Tony. And I think that does a lot to continue this most hated minority group in America.
Reed technically wouldn't be an atheist because he knows about like eternity.
Okay, so
which is
eternity would not be
right.
Okay, so this is why I have a problem with that response. Is because then in
This is fun. I'm very excited.
Because in Chaos War, right, we don't see Yahweh. We do not see Allah. But that does not affect your theist characters. You don't say, "Oh, you're foolish for being a theist" in Marvel. They do not do that. But then I get this response all the time, well, there's Thor. Yes, there is Thor. But he does not map onto the common theistic claims. So they're culturally atheists. I understand, like, you don't have a working metaphysic, so that it's not going to work.
Again, no comment.
Yeah, to explain the science and the epistemology. But still culturally, which Marvel's always been rooted in, they would be. And I don't think that's expressed well, and I'd like to see you guys try a little better.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I did. I mean,
I have a black
like
bolt
seriously,
shirt
like
on.
it's something that, and it sounds like ridiculous, but like dealing with that stuff is something as the Ultimate Universe has had to kind of adapt to a bigger understanding of the universe. Like that's stuff that we talk about, and it's stuff that's in the books. Like it's Ultimate FF is a book about kind of those big ideas. It's me. A lot of it is how much I love the old Kirby stuff and how Kirby saw the world through bigger eyes.
What do you write? You write the
I'm writing Ultimate FF that launches in April with artist Mario Guevara.
I'll
Pick
read
it up.
then. I
Please
only read
pre-order.
616, but I'll check it out.
Well, there you go. You're just reading the wrong universe. No, it really is. Like, it's your fault. It's not my problem. No, but like we've been dealing. You know, that when Galactus came to the Ultimate Universe, the conversation that we all had about it was this idea of like they have a very fixed understanding of what they have a version of. They believe pretty much what we believe. Plus aliens. We've seen aliens. And so suddenly to have this god in the sky, to literally have a giant purple man, which I'm assuming is everyone's current version of God. I could be wrong. I'm not clear. To have him appear in the sky throws everything into chaos. Suddenly they realize, like, oh, our understanding of you know, physics, our understanding of the universe, and our understanding of the place in it is all kind of thrown into a jumble. And I swear to God, it's a great question because that's something that we deal with in the book, and it's something that I love doing.
Well, I'll read your book then, because I wouldn't have otherwise. So.
All right. Well, good. That's one.
That's
sale.
one more sale, Tom. How we doing?
Also, Jason Aaron, you're my third favorite Thor writer, so good job, buddy.
Well,
third. There you go.
That dude's not getting a cookie.
Well, he's not going to beat Simon, so I'm going to.
Oh man.
In arm wrestling, though, you can totally take Simon.
I have arm wrestled. Yeah.
I don't know.
You're my
pretty
second
buff.
favorite Thor writer.
Oh,
So.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better. It's great.
I want to say, jumping on that thing that was said before about reboot or starting over with number ones, as a relative newcomer to comics, I really appreciate it. Because when I see like even issue number 26, I'm like, I can't get involved. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's, even if it's a new story, and Kelly Sue, a year ago when you gave me the Enemy Within, number one, like that was the first comic I read in about 20 years. And you had said like, that's a good starting point for Captain Marvel. If you like it, you'll like me, and you'll like the story, and it really helped. So I like the number ones. Now my question for Charles, I really dig She-Hulk.
Yay!
I
Me
really
too.
dig it. Like, I love the Kevin Wada like covers. I love like the editing. I think Frankie's doing a good job too. I love it. So I just want to know what's your plan for She-Hulk? And is it like, am I reading into it too much by saying it's like a lighthearted, fun romp, or like woman of the city sort of thing? But yeah, what are your plans for She-Hulk? I think it's terrific.
I think the tone that's been established with the first two issues is certainly something that I'm going to maintain. I mean, it's as fun for me to write it as apparently it is for you to read, which is great. Yeah. I love the idea that you can pick up an issue of She-Hulk, no matter even if it is issue 26, and you'll be able to get a sort of a self-contained fun experience in that one issue. That's something I'm trying to be very conscious of. I think comic reading. There are, epic, long storylines absolutely have their place, and some of the best comic stories I've read have been that type. There's also, something to be said for something that, you just pick up an issue and you dig it, and it's a good time, right? And so, with She-Hulk, I'm going to be exploring Jen Walter's life in a in a way that hopefully is going to feel very real. And, she's going to have problems that are going to be very relatable, I think. And she's also going to punch robots from time to time. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
I'm glad you're liking it.
It's terrific so far. I love it.
Cool. Next issue's out Wednesday. You should get it.
Where'd they go?
They're gone. You should just put them up here. Don't even put them down. Just put them up there.
CB, can I have one? He had two.
Did you ask a question?
I have a green tea. You have one of those green tea ones, CB?
I want one. I mean,
Everybody's distracted.
Oh, they're gone.
Hmm.
I've got green tea.
Oh, I'll take a green tea. Thank you.
I'll take it.
Is it? Okay, thank you.
You can go ahead and ask your question
Okay.
during snack time.
I think it's phase 2 of Marvel now. It seems like there's a lot of the books that have been launched are focusing on women characters, more characters of color. And what I've seen is the sales have borne out that that's been fairly successful so far with second and third printings of a lot of those. One, was that strategy intentional? And two, what's the next step?
In terms of was that strategy intentional, yes, in that we try to do a wide range of books that appeal to a wide range of people, and there are people of all sorts in the world, and so there should be people of all sorts that are represented in our books and in the stories that we tell. And it's great that a bunch of the things that we launched found, an audience, and not just an audience of whatever, particular demographic you want to say a given book is aimed at, but at a wider audience even than just that. In terms of the future, it's kind of like more of the same, but more. We're going to try different things with different characters of different persuasions, and sometimes we'll hit it right and it'll be a huge hit and a success, and sometimes we'll land with a thud and something else will come along to replace that. But I think it's really just going to be more of the same. It's an ongoing situation.
Okay. And I love all of your books.
Oh, thank you.
Short for this. Let's see. It's kind of an obvious question, but why isn't Marvel jumping on how big Loki is?
Well, we gave him a book.
Like merchandise-wise. I mean, I've got like 2 of the shirts that they put out, but really there's not as much as you would expect.
Yeah.
Right. If you want more shirts, We Love Fine has a Marvel license, and We Love Fine actually decides what to do. So tell We Love Fine I want more Loki merch, because we worked really closely with them with the Hawkeye and the Captain Marvel collections, and they want nothing more than to make the things you want to buy. So communicate with them directly is one thing you can do.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello. I had a question for Ms. Wilson and DeConnick. I love both your books. I picked up those Ms. Marvel and Captain Marvel comics, and I was curious, what, in regards between the artist and the writer, how do you guys determine the costumes that you're going to change? Because I remember when Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers took on that new costume, it was about a year ago. It was a radical departure from, obviously, the previous costume that she had. So what process do you guys go through? Do you just carte blanche say, it's going to be this way, and that's it? Or do you talk to the artist?
Yeah, when I pitched on the book, it was Ms. Marvel. And Steve Wacker, who was editing the book at the time, kind of shepherded me through that pitch process. And at one point, after I got the book, and when he called me, some of you heard me tell the story 10 times, but he called me to tell me that the results of the meeting, and he was like, well, you're not going to be writing Ms. Marvel. And I was like, okay, that's cool, it's all right. And he was like, because you're writing Captain Marvel! I'm going to kill you!
That was a good Steve Wacker, too, by the way. That was very well done.
And later that day, he emailed me, and it was like, as long as we're going to do this, I want to put her in pants. And I wrote back and was like, I can't tell if you're kidding. So we went through a design process, and there was, at the time, there was not a high hope for that book. So we had a very limited budget, and they did not have a budget to do a costume redesign outside. So there were some designs that were sent to me, and I was not crazy about them. And so I was like, well, what do you think about having Jamie McKelvey take a crack at it? And Wacker was like, we don't really
to make that happen. And I was like, well, what if Jamie just did it and then you liked it? And he was like, well, maybe we could find the budget. I don't know if that were to happen, that might happen. And so I talked to Jamie and was like, will you make a bet with me? And so the deal was that Jamie was just going to happen to do a redesign. And then if Marvel dug it, maybe they would find the budget for it, and if they didn't, then I would. Thank God.
Seems to have worked out.
Jamie is incredibly gifted, and he produced a costume that it looks to me like something that would be the formal. The dress uniform for the superhero branch of the military, which is appropriate to her character, and I think, we never refer to it as her costume, we always refer to it as her uniform. Okay, so Carol at this point changes into her uniform. And I think it's fantastic. I think this is a thing that Jamie has a particular gift for.
He does, yeah. He did Ms. Marvel also. Okay. He's sort of the patron saint of good costuming, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's always a back and forth. I mean, I had this idea in my head for a possible costume for Ms. Marvel, which and I have no drawing skills, I sketched it out. I realized it would make her look like a waitress at a really bad theme restaurant. So I was happy to hand that off to a professional. No, it's always a back and forth, because I think at the end of the day, visual artists have a certain aesthetic that those of us who just sort of type can only aspire to. And so sometimes, and Jamie is so good at this, there'll be like one idea and they'll take it and run with it, and what comes back is like way better than what you ever thought. So yeah, it's definitely a collaboration.
Thank you. And just quickly, Aaron, I really appreciated the God Butcher art. That was awesome. It was a really enjoyable part of Thor.
Am I your fourth favorite Thor writer?
5, 6, somewhere around there. No. And then I appreciated She-Hulk too.
Great. Thanks so much.
Sorry, Fialkov. I don't know. I don't got anything for you.
Whatever. We're going to go sit in the corner and be cool.
All right, before we go, my man here has read Original Sin #1. So tell us about, come up to the microphone. Don't be shy. We're not going to hurt you. Tell people about Original Sin #1 without spoiling all the secrets and things that you've just partaken of.
As always, Wolverine's hilarious. And I love it. I just don't know where he's going with this, so I'm really interested.
All right, excellent. Thanks so much. They'll give me $20 to read it. $20.
Let's see what we can get out of this. We got a panel tomorrow, too.
Right. You give $20 to the Hero Initiative? $20 right now. Right this second, yes. $20.
Nice.
No, you can take the Hero Initiative has a booth upstairs. If you donate the 20 to them.
Yeah, give it 20
don't give it to Tom.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, come on up. All right. I'll let you. I've also got, because I come prepared, I got the Original Sin 0, the lead-in that Mark Waid and Jimmy Chung did. If anybody wants to read that, or that's more of a free thing. It's just only a $20 read because the man said he would give me $20, and I'm not stupid.
I'll put it on eBay when I'm done.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
Meanwhile, there's been a lot of trend towards the cosmic side of Marvel these days, and Guardians of the Galaxy has made a huge interest. I mean, there's been
I've never heard of them.
a strange amount almost of re-interest in the title, with Captain Marvel even joining up with the team. I wondered what inspired that, or did they just decide they wanted to tell more, space kind of science fiction-y stories?
So I think, it's a
panel to my right says
it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling thing in that, a couple of years ago we did Annihilation. Marvel did Annihilation, and that seemed to take off, and that seemed to take root, and that turned itself into a number of series, Nova, and then eventually Guardians. after, I guess it was Annihilation, Conquest, and so forth. And there's a little, you know, a bit of world building on the space side of the Marvel Universe. And from that, you know, there began to be some rumblings that, well, maybe this could be something that we would eventually one day turn into a film. So, you know, seeing as this was a fertile area for Marvel to explore, we went back to it and kind of put our A-list, A-game resources against it to make it a bigger deal. And that's kind of where we are now. Now there's a freaking Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, having the goal of making a movie out of a title doesn't necessarily invalidate it. Like, you know, a book can still be good as a book, right? You know, it's
No, you
kind of a cynical
you mentioned
viewpoint,
at the beginning that Marvel West and Marvel East are two separate things, but I wondered if one had influence on the other.
Oh, there's a great creative synergy between the two sides. Don't get me wrong. You know, we are still one big company, and there is a creative committee with Joe Quesada, Dan Buckley, Brian Michael Bendis. They sit on with the movie producers and the guys at the studios to make sure that there's a great balance between what we're doing in publishing and what we're doing in the film, and it goes both ways. You know, a lot of what they do is influenced by what we're doing in the comics, and when they let us know what's coming up in the film slate, we try to kind of adapt or make sure that the comic line is reflecting what they're doing, because it is just one big universe, you know.
And with Carol, it was, we found out we were going to be getting the new #1, and it was a really exciting opportunity for us. We sort of had to figure out, like, well, what comes next for her, and she's, there's this book about the Mercury 13 that I had been reading sort of as research for her pilot persona, and there's a paragraph about this woman, Jerry Cobb, and how she's from this part of Oklahoma where everything there is, like, of course she became a pilot because everything in that part of the world is trying to take flight. And like, if you drop a candy wrapper, the wind immediately lifts it up, and the street signs on the side of the road just shake as they try to leave the earth. And that image really stuck with me, and that to me is Carol. Like, everything about her is trying to go up. She's like heart up, head up, chin up. She's trying to go to the sky all the time. And so the idea was sort of obvious. It was just like, well, what happens if we let her go? You know, and so this is kind of what happens next. And I think when a character is as powerful as she is, you have to give her things that challenge her that she can't punch. And so sending her out into the wider world to face new challenges is the next step. And then Brian and I are big fans of one another. So when he said, you know, we have this slot and we were thinking maybe Carol, I was like, yes, we are.
Do you think you'll write any Guardians books, Kelly?
What's that?
Do you think you'll write any Kelly? Do you think you'll write any Guardians books? Any Guardians of the Galaxy books?
Oh, I'm not writing a Guardians book, but I do get to the Guardians appear in Captain Marvel. Brian's writing the Guardians books, and then Carol appears in his book as well. In fact, the second issue of Captain Marvel has got to be out really soon. In fact, there's some really fun rocket raccoon action.
Nice.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. So there are a lot of good, relatively recent pets in the Marvel Universe, like Chewie and Pizza Dog and Thori. Are the new animal variant covers and Inhumanity all just a way to get a new lockjaw in the Pet Avengers? Or can it be?
Not necessarily, but there is. We solicited it, but we solicited it with you know, top secret classified information. But there is a Lockjaw story in the first issue of Original Sins.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we got
had some debate, and I need to go to David and ask him for confirmation, but we have had some debate with the animal variant cover of Captain Marvel, whether she's a fox or a cat. I don't know. I'm sort of voting fox. I think that's appropriate, but I'm not sure.
All right. Tell the people, if you would, step up. Was your $20 well spent? Not that we took it or anything.
Jason, I just want to say you're my second favorite Original Sin writer. You're not the best, but you're almost there. Okay. No, it's got like a floating convertible Mustang, which already makes it worth $4 as long as they don't reboot it after 8.
All right, thanks a lot.
So another Cosmic Marvel question. This one's pretty hyper-specific for Kelly Sue. And it's a Carol question, which feels odd right now. But so could not help noticing between Carol going cosmic again and Rucka writing Cyclops with the Starjammers. That seems like a possible reunion in space.
Doesn't it?
Waiting to happen. Have there been discussions to this? I should have asked this yesterday when Rucka was around, but now you can make things up.
Yeah.
And he can't argue with you.
I will tell you this. Greg Rucka is my dungeon master. We play Call of Cthulhu and Fiasco, and he runs the game. And there have been side conversations
Yes.
during the game that perhaps this is a meeting that has to happen. And Greg actually has dialogue for it.
Oh my God.
So there is no plan, and these books have to actually last long enough to make that happen.
Guys, please buy Captain Marvel and the Cyclops book.
Right, yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
For me.
Greg at least has those cards already on the table.
Thank you.
So, ladies, I've loved your work lately. It's been wonderful, and I really love how Adrian Alfona has realized Ms. Marvel, and I really hope you keep working on that. But there was something else that I love that he worked on, which was Runaways. And I've been wondering, we've seen a couple characters recently, but are there any plans to do anything more with those characters anytime soon?
Some of those characters continue to appear in Avengers Undercover, which just launched. It is kind of the successor to Avengers Arena. I think it's not unlikely that you'll see some of those other characters in some other places. We saw Victor Mancha in Avengers AI and so forth.
Molly was an X-Men.
Yeah, Molly was an X-Men recently.
Okay.
So those are all characters that we like and we'd like to give better exposure to. I don't know that you'll see a full-on Runaways revival immediately, but it's something that I'm sure we'll get to sooner or later.
Yeah, we always say, that the Runaways was a concept that was so unique and original when it came out, and it kind of, has ran its course. They ran away from their parents, and then the parents, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, and then so what were they running away from? And we were looking for the right writer with the right concept to come in and see what they could do again and kind of redefine the book, and it just hasn't happened yet. But when the right, like a lot of things, when the right pitch and the right time comes along, that will hopefully have the team back together, and you'll see the Runaways back in action again.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I like your t-shirt.
Hey guys, so I'm pretty new to comics. I started in 2012 with the new uniform of Captain Marvel, as you may have guessed. I was sort of chased away from comics as a kid because of all the TNA that are the female characters,
Right.
and how that tends to just constantly be popping up. I remember loving Rogue. Huh? Yeah. So right after the original X-Men movie, I got super into comics because I was like, Rogue, she's so cool. And then there was just so much terrible costume designs for her for a while, and I was like, run away. But I'm now back and love Captain Marvel. I love Ms. Marvel so much.
Thank you.
And I love She-Hulk. That is a bathing suit costume that works. Because she looks fucking badass in it. There's just such a huge difference, between the previous Ms. Marvel bathing suit and the She-Hulk bathing suit. It's just so great. And I can't wait to cosplay it, by the way. But oh my god.
You're gonna go all green, the whole.
Oh, I was saying yesterday I wasn't, but I've already talked myself into it. So I will be an all green She-Hulk.
That's gonna be a messy weekend, but a good one.
Yes.
One of the things we really wanted to do was create a costume that was true to some of her. She's been in bathing suits for a while, and so and she's a woman who's very proud of her physique. The fact that she never changes back to human Jen Walters is a big part of her character. So she's proud of what she's got. But we were inspired by sort of wrestling uniforms.
Yeah, and the weightlifting uniforms.
Yeah,
Because you
all
always
that
see those
stuff.
women are so strong, and that's exactly what you get from She-Hulk.
So you get a sense of power out of it, but not necessarily prurience or it's not.
Yeah.
It's designed to show off how awesome she is, not necessarily to make dudes get super jazzed.
Yeah.
But so anyway.
But yeah, I love it, and I just sort of wanted to reinforce that that's why I read the comics now. I read it for the slice of life of the superheroes and just for the fantastic costumes. So.
Cool. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Avoid the raspberry ones, just FYI.
Yeah,
They taste like
That's too sweet for me.
Exactly what they taste like.
I actually don't have any questions. I just want to say thank you for what you do. It's escapism that gets me out of some pretty tough spots in life when I need to not think about what's going on. Especially like recently, Air was incredible. I loved Air.
It's a great book.
Yeah. So thank you.
Really?
Oh, boy.
Thank you.
Okay.
I didn't know we were allowed to praise DC.
Okay.
We live in an open society. You can talk about and mention anything that you've worked on.
Except Southern Bastards.
Okay. Basically, oh boy, this is I'll try to keep it short. Thank you. All right. Basically, I'm a Dark Rock fan. Like, I'm just noticing, like, we're bringing back Gladiator from the all new X-Men and all that, you know, and the whole thing, War Kings thing and all that. And I was just wondering, like, is there any chance that he's going to be coming back, you know, like, with a bit of a storyline with, you know, like Kid Gladiator or Jean Grey, you know, like Gladiator comes back to Earth again or something like that, you know, like after the whole War Kings incident there? Just out of curiosity.
Happened in Arena.
Yeah, Darkhawk was in, more recently has been in
Avengers
Arena.
Yeah.
And thankfully he was not killed.
Yes, he survived Avengers Arena. Where he'll appear after this remains to be seen.
Okay, and well, one more question. Any more work on, well, pretty much this was a one-shot thing during the Fear Itself thing, like the Monkey King?
Actually, yes, the Monkey King was in a script that I read just this week. So he'll be showing up in, I might as well say, it's in Avengers World. He'll be in an issue of Avengers World coming up.
Okay, that's good. And, all right, one more.
There's a hero click of him. That's
Yes.
the only thing I've ever created that there's a toy of, and it's tiny, but it's so creepy.
Cool. All right, and one more question. Dark Avengers, you know, like if it ever comes back, would you be willing to do something like a cross with where Red She-Hulk ended there with her and X-51 with that old Shield thing, you know, like group, you know, like that started back in ancient times thing, you know, like
right.
Do a bit of cross with that or something.
Well, you know, at this point, neither Red She-Hulk nor Dark Avengers have a book, so it's not impossible that we won't revisit those stories or pick up where they're at. But it's nothing that I can promise you.
Oh no, I was just asking out of curiosity.
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Let us know what you want. That's good.
All right, we just got the 5 minutes left sign, so we're going to do a little lightning round. So if you could ask your questions quickly, we'll run through as many as we can.
1, don't let Mike Allred go anywhere again. Keep him around. He left for a long time.
I can't even find
and I'm
him.
glad
I go by
he's
his
back.
table. He's never
I know.
there.
I talked to him yesterday. It's great. 2, as a survivor of the '90s comics era, where I did leave for a long time. I know. I'm kidding. When I walk into a comic shop and I see something like a chromium version of Age of Ultron, I start to get worried that all these gimmicky covers and things like that are coming back. What can you do to assure me that quality will trump gimmicks?
Don't worry. I mean, the thing about the gimmicks, and this is sort of undeniable, cool is cool. All that stuff worked because it was cool. It was fun. It was interesting. It was different. It got people's attention. And the problem became it was overdone. People did too much of it and did it at the expense of the content. We're very worried about that. We're very cogent of it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't have a cool foily cover on an Ultron project once in a while, because that's still neat. And particularly for people who didn't survive the 90s and have never seen it before, it's cool. That brings them in. That attracts their eye on the stands like nothing else. You know, when we're doing one of those a week, you have plenty to worry about. But we did that. We did that one, and we haven't done another one since. So, like anything else, it's a tool to be used in moderation when we've got something that it applies to. Big Ultron story, big shiny silver robot, kind of makes sense. Why not? We're aware of it.
And if you go to your comic shop when Original Sin comes out, you're going to get a Super Ball that glows in the dark in the shape of the Watcher's eye. Tom has one, yeah.
I kind of want that. Thank you, that will do.
So good.
First of all, Jason Aaron, you are my favorite Thor writer for what that's.
Oh,
thank you for that.
You want a cookie?
All right, panel's over. Second, especially for Charles, Willow, and Kelly Sue, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter who absolutely adores superheroes. I work in a comic shop, so she's around it all the time. But thank you guys for writing such strong, empowered characters that I can be proud to give her those books to read when she is of age too. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Come by C12 and I'll give you a careful dog tag for your daughter.
Thank you very much. And my actual question, with a lot of the Marvel characters moving to California in that area, will we see a West Coast Avengers revival?
My short answer is always no. No. And not because I didn't like the book or didn't like the characters that were in it. I just think that the concept, West Coast Avengers, is kind of dopey. You know, if there's a crime east of the Mississippi, do they go? You know. So,
Thank you.
You know, an Avengers team that's set up on the West Coast, no problem at all. And maybe we'll get to that. I don't know that I'll call them West Coast Avengers.
They're here.
So, is the objective a supervillain showing up again?
Well, I should be, yes, she is, but before we define her as such, let's be clear that we understand that she has a very twisted take on that.
I'm very much aware. Second of all, the next time the Pet Avengers show up, Dog Pool should also show up. He can be a merc.
Just real quick, can we get a Black Panther book?
People want a Black Panther
That'd be
book?
cool.
All right, I'll write it down. Noted.
Similar question. Can we have a Melinda May comic book, please?
Maybe particularly now that they're this deep into the show, I suspect you'll start seeing the S.H.I.E.L.D. characters popping up around the Marvel Universe a little bit more. So, yeah, maybe so. Maybe
You
so.
mean like Agent Coulson, who is the star of Ultimate FF, Tom?
I've
finally had something. It's good.
I've never heard of that comic of which
Oh,
you
man.
This is Switty. This is Switty.
Do you have a final question, Spider-Woman?
I do. Can
All
we
right.
please have a Spider-Woman book? Because with Avengers Assemble over, like, when are we going to see her have her own title?
Let's just say that later in the year you're going to be very happy.
Thank you.
All right, hey guys, thank you so much for coming out. Do you guys want to give out your booth number so let people know where you're going to be? You C12?
C14.
F12.
J9.
V12.
And there's some cookies here if anyone wants them.
Avoid the raspberry.
All right, see you later, Tom.
You're the perfect hunting machine. Fearless. Relentless. You've been searching for one thing your whole life. And she's down there.
Make sure this is the right one.
It's her.
Good. Kill her.
Who are you? I'm here to help you.
It can be difficult for people from underdeveloped worlds to hear that their planet is not the only inhabited planet.
Your Majesty, Kane was the best soldier I ever went into battle with.
If she's what you say she is, we're not getting off this planet without a fight.
Your Earth is a very small part of a very large industry.
I feel I have you at somewhat of a disadvantage.
Is that because he kidnapped me?
Some lives will always matter more than others.
I shall bestow a gift on the child.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will fall into a sleep-like death.
Curious little beastie. Bring her to me.
I know you're there. Don't be afraid.
I am not afraid.
Then come out.
Then you'll be afraid.
All the other fairies fly. Why don't you?
I had wings once. They were strong. They were stolen from me. There is evil in this world. Hatred and revenge. I call on those who live in the shadows. Fight with me now!
Is it true?
Day one, Greenie. Rise and shine.
What is this place?
Can you tell me your name?
I can't remember anything.
Who put us here? We don't know.
What's out there? The maze. Every morning when those doors open, the runners look for a way out. And no one has ever survived a night in the maze. What happens to them?